Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is the live game review. Everton 1, Chelsea 0. As you can tell by my voice, I still haven't fully recovered from Sunday afternoon. That was largely due to the celebrations at Goodison Park and outside of Goodison Park, as well as obviously the greeting of the coach and all of that sort of stuff before the game, but also partly down to the fact that I then spent the night in the pub singing and dancing and just having a great time. And then once the pub was due to close, pretty much everybody in there, in fact I would say 99.9% of the people within the pub stayed for an extra 25 minutes, half an hour, just singing Everton songs once the DJ had stopped playing his music. Now, bear in mind, the bouncers tried to get everybody out for about, as I said, 25 minutes, half an hour, and nobody was moving. It was just a constant rendition of We Are the Goodison Gang, Everton. Every single Everton song you could think of was sung, and it was just overall an absolute amazing day, an amazing night. And I sat here and done the instant match reaction and said that I don't know if I've ever experienced an Everton game that has been quite that special and has felt quite like what it felt like on Sunday afternoon. And I've been to a lot of Everton games. I'm only 23 years old, 24 years old this year, so there'll be people watching this that have been going, you know, for much longer than I have and for much longer than I've been alive. But I've been to a fair few Everton games in my time. I've travelled around Europe watching Everton. I've travelled around this country watching Everton. I've been a season ticket holder for over a decade, and I don't quite think I've witnessed it like it was on Sunday. The whole day in itself, as I said, from the greeting of the coach before the game and the flares and the, you know, Myra the dog being paraded on Goodison Road to during the game and the atmosphere within Goodison Park, the performance from the players, the relief of getting that win, the reaction to Richarlison's goal, every tackle, every, you know, bit of possession cheered and celebrated. So obviously, as I said, the atmosphere when the final whistle went, obviously everything that followed that night. It just felt like for the first time in a long time, everybody was happy. Now, don't get me wrong, we've had some important wins this season in the last, you know, couple of months or so, and unfortunately we haven't had enough of them, but we've had a couple of important ones. The Newcastle one springs to mind, the Arsenal one a few months ago springs to mind, Brentford, you know, Frank Lampard's first game in charge of Everton Football Club, Manchester United a couple of weeks ago, and all of those wins, I think I sat here and said after all of those wins that it very much felt like it was a relief rather than a feeling of happiness. Don't get me wrong, obviously I was absolutely made up after every one of them, especially the Newcastle one because of the way it, you know, it ended, and it was a last second goal by Alex Iwobi and it was absolutely brilliant. But the general feeling, you know, in every one of those wins, as I've just mentioned, was relief and was, you know, thank God we managed to get the 3 points in that game and we can now focus on the next one. It wasn't as sort of, it just didn't feel as special as what Sunday felt, and I think that was because we're closer to the end of the season. B, because obviously Burnley managed to win against Watford on Saturday, so we all knew, I think every fan, every player, the manager, the staff, all knew going into this one that it was an absolute must-win. Nothing less than a win would have been acceptable. C, because we were playing a very good, organised Chelsea team, champions of Europe, so that was always going to make it feel a little bit more special. But obviously, I think more importantly, the reason as to why I felt like it the way it did was because of the day in itself. You know, as I said, fans coming together, you know, in the week leading up to this game and organising. A massive respect, by the way, to everybody that got involved in organising that greeting of the coach on Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning. I'm not going to sit here and name specific people because I know a couple of people that were involved in it, but I don't know everybody, and I don't want to say one group or one name and not say somebody else because they equally deserve as much respect as each other. Massive respect, because these types of things aren't easy to organise. It's not just a case of saying, right, everyone get down to Goodison, you know, at this time and we'll do this and we'll do that. A lot more hard work, a lot more dedication goes into organising these types of things, and as I said, to witness that, to witness the blue smoke as you know you're walking up City Road, and the, you know, the flares, and well, sorry, not the flares, because they're not flares, by the way, they're not flares, they're smoke bombs. There's a distinct difference between a flare and a smoke bomb. You know, the smoke machines. I don't even want to call it a bomb because that'll probably get you in trouble. The smoke machines, the singing, the shouting. I'm sure you've all seen all of the pictures and videos that have come out from Sunday. And if you weren't there at Goodison Park to witness their first hand, I was lucky enough to be there. I certainly catch the end of it. But sitting back on Monday morning, yesterday morning, and even Sunday evening, and just looking at, the pictures and the videos, and there's a picture from over the water, and you can see the smoke. There's a video in Everton's tunnel access video of a bird's eye view of Goodison Park, and you can see all the smoke, and obviously all of the pictures that come from Goodison Road, be it Mara the dog being paraded, be it the young lad standing on the Holy Trinity statue, the blue smoke, the welcoming of the coach. It all just felt very, very special. And I seen a tweet from a Chelsea fan on Sunday evening, which was it went something along the lines of it was a quote tweet to basically a collage of pictures from Sunday. Richarlison celebrating the goal, and the scenes before the game, and the atmosphere and stuff. And it was a quote tweet from a Chelsea fan just saying that it was never going to be our day today, was it? It was never going to go for us. And that wasn't them saying that they deserved anything more out of the game. That was the Chelsea fan, or this Chelsea fan specifically, acknowledging that Everton would just never, and whether it be the fans, whether it be the players, whether it be Frank Lampard, whoever it may be associated with Everton Football Club, we were not going to accept anything less than 3 points on Sunday, and we absolutely got what we deserved. And if we can emulate that, if we can replicate that for Brentford and Palace, then I think we'll be okay. And that's exactly what we need to do. Frank Lampard has effectively called upon the fans to greet the players with the same sort of welcome for the Brentford and Palace game. Now, obviously, the away games will be slightly different, but there's no reason why we can't put a similar sort of, a similar welcoming for the away coach turning up. Obviously, that all depends on what time fans arrive at away grounds and stuff like that. But if we can replicate the performance of Sunday in those away games against Leicester, Watford, I know we've got Arsenal, but hopefully it'll be all done and dusted by Arsenal, but certainly Leicester and Watford, then I think we'll get points out of those games. I think we'll get 3 points against Watford if we play like we did on Sunday, and I think we'll get at least a point against Leicester. And if we can replicate the entirety of what Sunday was for the remaining 2 home games of the season, then I think we'll beat those 2 teams as well, because you're talking about 2 sides that are on the beach at the moment, to coin a very popular football term. Palace have got absolutely nothing to play for. They're not going to get into Europe. They're not going to be relegated. They've got absolutely nothing to focus on, nothing to play for. Their players will be effectively looking towards the end of the season and an opportunity to go and get some time away. And Brentford, very similarly, they're very unlikely to go down. I know they still mathematically could be dragged into the race. Obviously suffered a big defeat to Manchester United yesterday, but let's be honest, Brentford aren't going to be dragged into it either. So we absolutely need to replicate and emulate, and I don't even know what the difference is between the words replicate and emulate, by the way. I'm just saying them, but I know we need to replicate everything about Sunday in those 2 remaining home games of the season. Specifically, we need to replicate the performance of Sunday in the away games as well, but the atmosphere, the welcoming of the coach, the blue smoke, the chanting, the screaming, the passion, the desire, the energy, it needs to happen again and again and again. Because you know what? It worked. And you've got Chelsea fans openly saying, it's never going to go for us, was it? And there'll have been players in that Chelsea dressing room that would have turned up on Sunday and thought, this is going to be absolutely horrible, this. And that's what we need to do for Palace and Brentford as well. We need to make their players and their fans turn up and think, Jesus, these are well up for this. And there's absolutely no reason why we don't do it again. I know these things are difficult to organise, as I said, but I'm sure absolutely everybody that was involved in the organisation of the greeting of the coach on Sunday will be well up for being involved in the organisation of the greeting of the coach for those 2 remaining home games of the season. And I'm sure there'll be many more people that are wanting to be involved in that as well. As I said, it's not cringy, it's not cop-out behaviour, to coin a term that we've seen before. It's not anything other than just turning up and getting behind the football club that we all know and love. And the players have openly all said that the atmosphere was what dragged them through again. And I know they've said that before, but when you've got players like Anthony Gordon coming out and saying that's a day none of us will ever forget, when you've got players like Richarlison coming out and saying we need to keep fighting, we've got to keep fighting till the end, when you're looking at videos from Alex Iwobi's Snapchat and you see Damari Gray and Anthony Gordon and Alex Iwobi and Jared Brandfaith all looking outside the coach with massive smiles on their faces as if to say, this is what we need, this is what we want. Yes, okay, Fabian Delph's sitting there with a face on, but we'll ignore that. You know, the players very clearly respond to that. And they do need to go away from home and be a bit more professional. They do need to have a bit more confidence in themselves. They do need to have a bit more belief in themselves away from home, especially in those games against Leicester and Watford, because they're vital as well. Don't want to be looking at the 2 home games and thinking these are absolute must-wins to stay up, because that adds unnecessary pressure. We can't lose, for me, either of those 2 away games. I think Watford has to be a win, considering how bad they are at home, and Leicester has got to be at least a point. But if the players can go away from home and be a bit more, be a bit professional, put in a professional performance, and as I said, and perform like they did on Sunday, even perform like they did against Liverpool. I know obviously Leicester and Watford aren't on that same level as Liverpool, but if we go and we be as resilient and as defensively strong and structured as we were in that Merseyside derby, then I don't think either Leicester or Watford would break us down. And let's not forget, we had chances in the Merseyside derby as well, as we did on Sunday, despite the fact that in both of those games we had significantly less possession than the opposition. We had multiple chances in both games to create to score goals. So if we can do that in those away games and come away with something, and then replicate Sunday in what Sunday was in the games against Brentford and Palace, then I don't want to say it because I'm not 100% convinced, and I don't want to jinx anything, and I don't want to sit here and say, we've won 1 game, so we'll be absolutely sound. But a big part of me feels like if we can get that again, then we'll get more. Put it this way, we'll get more points and we'll pick up more results than if we don't produce that again. That was amazing on Sunday. As I said, I'm not just saying it because it's the last win, or it was the last experience, or it was, one that because we're in a relegation battle, but I don't ever quite remember it being that good as an Evertonian. I don't remember going the game and enjoying a match day as much. As I said, we've had big wins this season prior to Sunday, but they've all, I don't know whether anybody agrees, this is just my opinion, feel free to disagree if you want, but they've all, as much as I've celebrated them, as much as I've gone for a pint afterwards, as much as I've been happy, they've all been more of a sort of relief. It's been more of a, thank fuck we beat Newcastle, or, thank fuck we beat Manchester United, or thank fuck we beat Arsenal. Whereas this one on Sunday felt like a genuine celebration. It felt like a cup final. It did, and some people might go, oh, that's embarrassing, or that's cringy, or take the piss out of that, but it felt like a cup final. Imagine we win a trophy, by the way. You wouldn't see me for about 3 weeks. The instant match reaction had come about a month after the game had finished, because I'd go missing for about 3 weeks celebrating. But that's how much Sunday meant to everybody at the football club. But Sunday isn't the be-all and end-all. That result on Sunday doesn't keep us in the Premier League. That result on Sunday doesn't guarantee our survival. Although the day in itself and the celebrations and the coach welcome, it seems like the type of game. If you watch that game and you watch the scenes from a non-Evertonian and you weren't that invested in the Premier League or football, you would probably think that, right, okay, they're safe now. That was the game they needed to turn up in. They did, they won it. The atmosphere was great, blah, blah, blah. They're all right. We're not. We're absolutely not. That was a game that we absolutely needed to win. And as I said, everything about the day was just unbelievable. But it's not guaranteed. That isn't the, right, okay, we're all right now. We can go back to just turning up in games and making silly mistakes and making defensive problems and not taking our chances. And, the atmosphere can go back to being a little bit flatter. No, it can't. That isn't by any stretch of the imagination. It's not done, and it's not done. It's not over. We're not safe. We're not okay. That needs to be the standard. As I said, everything about Sunday needs to be the standard now for certainly the remaining games of this season, and hopefully games leading into next season and the season after. I don't see why we can't have a welcoming of a coach like that for every game, whether we're 15th in the league, 12th in the league, 10th, fighting for the top 4 or fighting relegation as we are now. I don't see why we can't produce that every single week, or certainly every single time we we're playing at Goodison Park, but certainly between now and the end of the season, that's got to be the standard for me. We've got to see that again against Brentford and Palace, and the away games. We've got to see performances that, as I said, sort of replicate Sunday, because we've done a very good job of nullifying a very strong Chelsea team. And yes, they had chances. They had the Mason Mount chance and Aspilicueta chance that we'll talk about a little bit later on, where Jordan Pickford, for me, makes the best save I've ever seen. And yes, they had a couple of opportunities that if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford, the game might have been a different outcome, a different result. But, they're the champions of Europe. They won the Champions League last season. They've won the Club World Cup. This season, they're comfortably going to finish within the top 4. We're struggling to find any sort of form and momentum in the league, and we're fighting relegation. Obviously, a team like Chelsea are going to turn up and have opportunities, but we nullified them, we frustrated them. Yerry Mina absolutely frustrated the shit out of Kai Havertz for 90 plus minutes. Jordan Pickford frustrated them and done exactly what he needed to do. Richarlison's work rate was unbelievable. His determination, his effort, as was Anthony Gordon's. Alex Iwobi, big happy birthday to Alex Iwobi, by the way, 26 today, and happy birthday to Anwar El Ghazi as well, who's 27. But everybody played their part on Sunday. The fans, the manager, the staff, the players, everybody. And there'll have probably been fans that turned up to that welcoming of the coach that weren't even going the game because they couldn't get tickets or because they couldn't go for whatever reason. But they still wanted to turn up and support. They still wanted to turn up and be a part of that. And be a part of that welcoming, because you didn't need a ticket to turn up. You didn't need to pay to turn up. You didn't need to have a guaranteed ticket. There will have probably been fans that would have been to the welcoming and then had to go and watch the game at home or in the pub because they couldn't get a ticket for whatever reason. And that's, as I said, I can't express to you how important it is that we do that again. We do that again for Palace and we do that again for Brentford. Because, that could be the difference between us staying up and going down. And if the players see that again against Brentford, and the managers, Frank Lampard has effectively come out. I don't think he's actually said the words, but he's effectively come out and said, do that again. Please, please, please do that again. Then we've got to, haven't we? It's as simple as that. This is our football club. That's the best it's felt for, many, many, many years. And we're in a relegation battle. Why would we not do that again? Why would we not emulate that again? It was just absolutely amazing. Dom1878 is in the live comments. We were in the pub together. He said you could genuinely tell how happy everyone was in the pub, mate, even singing normal tunes like American Pie while waving the Everton flags to going outside and the Goodison gang chant not ending. Exactly, mate. Exactly. And that will have been the same across every pub near enough in the city and in town. It wasn't like Newcastle, which was arguably in terms of at the time in which it happened. I know obviously the season hasn't panned out in that way, but Newcastle were very much in a relegation battle at that point. And we'd won a game that we sort of all felt like could be the difference between us staying up and going down. But after Newcastle, it was more, do you know what? I'm just relieved. Maybe we'll be all right now, maybe we won't. Sunday was a genuine celebration. And as I said, but as I said, it's important to understand that that's not Wimbledon. All those years ago, that's not games in which other teams have survived relegation. That's not the final game of the season, and we've survived off the back of that. Although that Sunday might have felt like that, it isn't. It isn't. There's still work to be done, and it's important that the players and us as fans understand that. And as I said, that's the standard now, at least between now and the end of the season. For me, that should be the standard every single week, because it works, and it's worked against a very good Chelsea team. But that has to be the standard between now and the end of the season. As I said, I still can't talk. I've still absolutely lost my voice. We will get into talking about the game. As I said, Jordan Pickford making, for me, the best save I've ever seen in a footballing game. I thought Tim Howard's against Southampton all those years ago was the best I'd likely see in a game of football live, but that one on Sunday was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's a genuine argument to be made that that's the best save ever made. And I'm not even saying that because I'm an Evertonian or because I'm bitter or because it's emotion. There's a genuine argument to be made that given the circumstances of that save, given what it meant in the context of the game and potentially the context of Everton's season, given the fact that when Azpilicueta took the shot from 10 yards out into an open goal, Jordan Pickford was at the complete other end of a goal. And you might watch that on the television and think, oh, it's not that far to run. Trust me, if you've never been to a game of football, or if you've never played football, and I know there won't be many people who fall into those categories watching, but if there is anybody, those goals are much, much bigger than they seem on a television. I'm telling you, they're much, much bigger than they seem on a television. And from 10 yards out with an open goal, after Azpilicueta took the shot, Jordan Pickford has not only sprinted all the way across the goal line, but he's had the knowledge, he's had the know-how, he's had the goalkeeping IQ to understand that he's got to get behind the line to be able to put himself in the best position to stretch his arms and make the save. As I said, it is genuinely the save of the season. You will not see a better save all season, maybe if ever. It's unbelievable, and especially given the context of that game in itself, but also where Everton are at the current moment. It was amazing. As I said, the chances we created, and we did create chances in that game. Chelsea created chances as well, but I think we had the better. Not only the goal, I think Mikalenko's chances is just, I'm still scratching my head that we didn't score it, to be honest with you. Rondon had one towards the end, Damari Gray had one towards the end as well. It was unbelievable. It really, really was unbelievable. And as I said, I want to give a massive, massive shout out to Frank Lampard as well. I put a tweet out yesterday, which for some weird reason wound a lot of Liverpool fans up. It wound a lot of Chelsea fans up as well, but I understand why it wound a lot of Chelsea fans up. But why it wound a lot of Liverpool fans up is beyond me. They are genuinely the most obsessed fan base on the planet. But the tweet was something along the lines of how Frank Lampard understands this football club. And I had a lot of replies from people saying, you were 16th when he joined and now you're 18th. And gets it, does he? Gets it. I don't think people understand that it's not about that. Don't get me wrong, Frank Lampard's made some questionable decisions since he's been Everton manager, and there has been some games that I would probably directly put down to, some losses that I would directly put down to Frank Lampard and his lack of game management or substitutions or whatever. But not every loss since Frank Lampard has joined the football club has been down to Frank Lampard. And it's the emotion, it's the passion. It's the determination. It's how much it means to Frank Lampard. And Frank Lampard was up against a team that he'd managed for 18 months, literally a year ago. Not only a team he'd managed for 18 months, but a team that he played for 15, 16 years. A team that he'd spent the good majority of his career playing for, winning leagues, winning Champions Leagues for them. And yet he celebrated that goal. And I will say this, and there might be Chelsea fans watching who don't like it or don't agree with it, and maybe Frank Lampard wouldn't agree with it, but he celebrated that goal like he couldn't give a shit about Chelsea. And that's not because he doesn't give a shit about Chelsea. He very clearly does. He went over to their fans, he clapped their fans, he acknowledged them. He very clearly loves Chelsea Football Club. He said that in press conferences since he's been the Everton manager, of the affection he has for Chelsea Football Club. But what that showed is, in that moment, there was nothing about Chelsea Football Club, or it wasn't the typical old, when a player scores against his old club, or a manager, is manager, and it's best calm me celebration down here. It was just pure, I don't give a shit who we're playing. We've just scored a goal that could be genuinely season defining, so I'm going to celebrate like that regardless of who's in the other dugout or who the opposition is. And that just shows the desire, the passion and the energy Frank Lampard has for Everton Football Club, and it shows how desperate he is to succeed. And you can say what you like about passion merchants and this, that and the other, and listen, I've had a go with the other fella across the park for doing it, for years, giving it the old fists up and all of that sort of stuff. But the reality is, football is a sport based on passion. Certainly in this country, we love nothing more than players, than managers, than staff, than professionals who are employed by our football club to show that passion and desire for our football club. We love absolutely nothing more than that. And whether it's for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, that's just something that is ingrained in football in this country, and certainly ingrained in Everton Football Club. We need the players that are playing for this football club to give everything, to battle, to fight for each other, to fight for themselves, to fight for our football club, to fight for us, exactly like we do in the in the stands with the atmosphere and the the chant and stuff like that. And we love a manager to do the same thing. As cool as Carlo Ancelotti was, and as much as we all loved Carlo Ancelotti when he was Everton manager, and as easy as this is to say now that he's not Everton manager, as cool as it was to see him celebrating goals by drinking a cup of tea and all of this and all of that, let's be honest, that's just not Everton, is it? That's just not Everton. As I said, it ironic really, the last Everton game that I enjoyed as much as Sunday was probably the game against Chelsea a couple of years ago when Duncan Ferguson was in charge. And again, not only because we won that game, but because of the atmosphere, because of the fact that Duncan Ferguson was up and down the touchline. We love that. We absolutely loved that. And seeing Frank Lampard's celebrations and the way in which he acted when, the final whistle had went and when the goal had went in, and even when, the time had been added on and he was in the assistant's ear saying, 7 minutes, where's that come from? It just all adds up to that passion and that energy that we need for this football club. And, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination saying Frank Lampard's a better tactician than Carlo Ancelotti, or there's not any, there's not Everton fans out there that would rather have Carlo, because I'm sure there is. But the reality is, the way in which Frank Lampard displays his passion and energy for this football club is much more suited to Everton Football Club than Carlo Ancelotti's was. I genuinely do believe that even if worst comes to worst this season, and I'm not going to mention what that is, but even if worst was to come to worst at the end of this season, I don't think there'd be many Evertonians wanting Frank Lampard to leave the football club. I really, really, really don't. And that says something, because when I look back on, be it Rafa Benitez's time, and we don't have to talk about Rafa Benitez because we all know the dislike that the Evertonians had for him. But even Carlo Ancelotti, who was loved as an Everton manager and still probably is loved by a lot of Evertonians, I look back at his time, and when it got bad, there was a lot of Everton fans criticising him, and there was even shouts at times for him to be sacked, and shouts of people saying if it wasn't Carlo Ancelotti and he wasn't the name he is, then he'd have been sacked by now. And I can't help but feel like if Carlo Ancelotti had have been in this situation with Everton, and had we have been in a relegation battle in April under Carlo Ancelotti, and I'm not saying we would have been because he's a better manager or whatever, but let's say we were, I can't help but feel like there'd be a lot of Blues that wouldn't be opposed to seeing him leave at the end of the season, whereas it just seems a bit different with Frank Lampard. It really, really does. And, as I said, it showed the emotion and the passion and the desire that he has for this football club, a football club that he's been at for 2 months, 3 months, and he's already fully immersed in it. And yet we saw that on show on Sunday against the team that he grew up playing for. He grew up, he didn't grow up managing, but the team that were his club, basically his club, and that takes a lot. That takes a lot, because if I was a Premier League manager and I was managing a game against Everton, I don't think I could celebrate winning a game against Everton like Frank Lampard did, and that just shows that he gets this football club, and I really, 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 really do believe he gets this football club. And do you know when you're in a relegation battle? Do you know when you're in April and you're 18th in the Premier League and you need to win, the games that you've got coming up, and you haven't really been playing well and the momentum hasn't really been there, and you've been, not getting the results that you need and dropping points in silly games. Sometimes you need that bit of passion. Sometimes you need that bit of energy. Sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time, you need that passion and commitment and determination from everybody within the football club to fight for the same thing. And that's what we got on Sunday, and that's what we need to get this Sunday coming up, and the week after, and the week after that, and the week after that, and the week after that, because that's what we need, and that's what will keep us up. That's what will keep us up, because we've shown now against Arsenal, who are fighting for the top 4, Chelsea, who are fighting for the top 4, even City, Liverpool. When the players want to put a performance in, they can do that. We were great against City and we're unlucky. We were very good against Liverpool, in my opinion, the way we set up and the way we, the way we managed the game plan, and we were unlucky. Brilliant against Man United, won that game. Brilliant against Chelsea, won that game. Brilliant against Arsenal, won that game. we've got to be brilliant against Palace and Brentford and Watford and Leicester. These games that against teams that aren't of the quality of the teams I've just mentioned, but have caused us problems this season. And that's why I'm not particularly excited or, sitting here thinking, we'll be sound. We've got loads of winnable games coming up, because it's been these winnable games in which we've dropped points in this season. So that's what I'm saying. It's got to be the same as what it was on Sunday. Anyway, we will talk about the game, because that's what we're here to do. It's a game review. But let's get into some of the live comments before we do that. If you are enjoying the stream, by the way, so far, please hit that like button. It only takes a second. 109 people watching. That is absolutely amazing. If you could hit that like button, that would be absolutely brilliant. Ray Max says, let's go. What's happening? Forgotten Where the Movie says, hi, Cam. Hope you're doing well, my mate. I'm not doing too badly. Adam says, absolutely rooting for Arsenal and Villa at the weekend. Yeah. I don't think Villa will do us any favours, to be honest with you. Again, absolutely nothing to play for. Steven Gerrard hasn't had a good time there so far, has he? Let's be honest. Arsenal on the other hand, Champions League, needing the points. Yeah. Tess says, hello Blues, we still on a high, mate. I still, as I said, my voice still hasn't fully returned. I just still can't quite get over it, to be honest with you. I had to use yesterday to sort of just bring myself back down to earth, because I just felt like Sunday was the pinnacle of life. And that's sad, because, we're in a relegation battle and we've won one game of footy, but that it just felt so special, didn't it? And I might be over-exaggerating, and I know I'll get comments from people saying, get over yourself, Cam, you've only won one game, and, you're still in the shit, and we're still close to relegating this, that, and the other. But for those 90 minutes on Sunday, and for that night, it was just about the fact that we'd won that game, and the fact that we were within such a distance and almost put our own future in our hands rather than it being in other teams' hands. Wayne says, we need this match. It was amazing. We need this every match. It was amazing. Yeah. Philip says, in over 50 years, I've never seen anything as moving as that, apart from winning something. The newspaper haters went into overdrive crying about Everton. Well, fuck off. No other club can do that. Yeah. Spot on. Labovitz says, obviously the players have let themselves down this season, but the team's built on partnerships. Our squad goes together like bacon and fresh cream after all the tactical and managerial changes. Bacon and fresh cream. I don't know whether that's an analogy that doesn't go together or does go together. But I would assume it doesn't go together, because I wouldn't think of bacon and fresh cream coming together, but there you go. Lavid also says, Lampard is simply getting a pulse out of them, desire, hunger, etc. It ain't pretty, but who cares? Come on, you Blues. Exactly. And Frank Lampard very literally said a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago in a press conference, it's not about playing pretty football. We can play pretty football next season, or we can play pretty football in the future. It's about surviving. It's about fighting. I think his exact quote was, it's not about playing pretty football. It's about it's about fighting. And that's what we've done in the last, 3, 4, 5 games. Again, as I said, Manchester United, Leicester, Liverpool. Although we've lost one of those games, we took 7 points, out of the other 3, which, prior to Manchester United, if you'd have said Everton are going to take 7 points from Leicester at home, Chelsea at home, United at home and Liverpool away, I don't think many people would have believed you, to be honest with you. Villa is 6 points in front of Leeds and Burnley, so I'm sure Stevie G will be looking for the win to secure safety against Burnley. Villa will be all right. Villa aren't going to get dragged into it. Peter says, despite our position, other fans envy our fans. They dream of atmospheres like that. Yeah, spot on. Tom says, don't think the bouncers want us to do it again, lads. They couldn't get rid of us. But that's Everton, isn't it? That's what Everton bring you. When it's days like that, the party really doesn't stop. Again, as I said, it was just unbelievable that the day, the night, everybody just come together. It wasn't. I think there was a sense of relief. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that sense of relief wasn't there. I very much think there was a sense of relief, but it was more a sense of That was amazing. That was what going the football should be. It shouldn't be waking up and thinking, oh fucking hell, I've got the game today, and it almost being like a chore. It's almost being like going to work, something you've got to do. You don't really want to do it, but you've got to do it, and you go there and you want to get it over and done with, and then you want to go for a pint afterwards because it's been successful. Go in the game, go in the match, go in the football, going to Goodison Park to watch Everton, or anywhere to watch Everton, but specifically Goodison Park, should be like what it was on Sunday every week. Should be a celebration. It should be going and getting behind the team and battling for the team, and the team battling for the fans, and all of that sort of stuff. And I think that's why everybody was in such a good mood, because it was very much the perfect day in regards to a game of football. And as I said, that other than that game, that Chelsea game under Duncan Ferguson, I don't think I've witnessed it like that in all my life as an Evertonian. Louis says we need at least 7 points in the next 3. I reckon very possible. Yeah, Toonami says I'm glad my team's not involved in the death for the change. The battle for survival, even as a Newcastle fan, seems pretty extraordinary this season. The pressure and excitement is so dramatic. So good luck. Cheers, mate. Delph looked absolutely thrilled. Delph was smiling inside. We all know it. Yeah. Peter says, whoever thought of fireworks at the hotel, brilliant, well done. Peter says, nobody can ever take that feeling away from you, Cam. That's it. And Lavert says, I'm still scratching my head, trying to work out how Pickford crossed the line so quick. Yeah, me too, mate, me too. We had another one then. And USA Toffee says, hey guys, hope everyone is doing well. Hit the like, and thanks as always, Cam. Cheers, my mate. Cheers, my mate. I am doing absolutely, I'm doing brilliant. I'm doing absolutely brilliant. To be honest with you, and I'm just hoping that, you know, again, we've got an away game up next, 2 away games on the bounce. I think we've got Leicester and Watford. Watford is obviously monumental. They've not won a home game in 11 games, I think, 12 games, and their next home game is against Everton. And the Leicester game, again, we need to get something out of that one. If we get 4 points out of them 2 games, then I'd be absolutely over the moon. But I don't think we can really afford to lose any of them. Leicester will be tough. We'll have to be resilient. We'll have to battle. We'll have to be defensively strong. But, you know, again, after Sunday, and I know I've said this before, by the way, and, you know, ultimately, it's come back to bite me on the arse. But after Sunday, I genuinely don't know how those players can't be feeling on cloud 9. I don't know how they can't be thinking, yeah, we'll go out against Leicester, who have got nothing to play for in the league. They've got a European, semi-final, Conference League, whatever it's called, semi-final, a couple of days before. These players should be looking at this thinking, let's go out and let's stick it to these. Let's give it right to them. And let's hope they are. Anyway, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the performance. Let's talk about the result, because that's why we're here. That's what we're here to do. Frank Lampard started with a team that I don't think was very surprising to a lot of us. Obviously, it included Jordan Pickford in goal, as expected. Vitaly Mykolenko and Seamus Coleman as the fullbacks, and Yerry Mina and Mason Holgate as the centre-backs. Now, this was a bit of a surprise for me, that it was Mason, because I thought it would be Michael Keane. As I said in the preview, I feel like out of the centre-backs that were available, the Michael Keane-Yerry Mina partnership has been one that has historically been better than Michael Keane and Mason Holgate, or Yerry Mina and Mason Holgate for that matter. But for whatever reason, Frank Lampard decided to go with Mason Holgate. Maybe it was for his athleticism, maybe it was for his pace, maybe it was for his youthfulness, maybe he just rates him higher than he rates Michael Keane. What I will say is Mason Holgate was absolutely exceptional against Chelsea. Didn't put a foot wrong, worked hard, battled, defensively was strong. And you know why? You know why that is? Because he's playing next to Yerry Mina. And Yerry Mina is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. We'll get more into Yerry Mina a little bit later on in the stream. Obviously, we had Abdoulaye Doucouré and Fabian Delph in there with Alex Iwobi, and then a front three of Anthony Gordon, Richarlison, and Damari Gray. Dominic Calvert-Lewin making the bench, as was Alan. Tom Davis returning to the bench for the first time in a while as well, which was good to see. And as I said, from the off, the atmosphere and the passion in the stadium and the the noise that us Evertonians made was just absolutely unbelievable. It was the best it's been all season. It was the best it's been arguably for a number of years, and that was directly because it was brought in from the atmosphere before the game, welcoming the coach into the ground and stuff. Everybody was up for the game. Everybody was willing to battle. Everybody was willing to fight. There was smoke machines, smoke. I don't want to say what they're actually called because I'll probably get shouted at for it, but there was smoke devices set off before kickoff, which was great because it was like being at a Galatasaray game or something like that. And you could just tell that everybody was up for the game, and it was then down to the players to show that they were up for the game as well. And within literally 30 seconds of the game kicking off, we've got a free kick on the edge of their box. The ball gets put back to, can't remember if it was Holgate or Mina, I think it was Holgate, lumped up towards Richarlison and Anthony Gordon, forward to Anthony Gordon, and he's whipped up on the edge of the box, and all of a sudden we've got a free kick. Now that obviously naturally lifted the crowd. That naturally lifted the 40-odd thousand Evertonians within Goodison Park, because it wasn't just the belief of, oh, we could go 1-0 up here, we could score. It was a statement of intent by the players. It was a statement of intent by the manager and the manager's tactics. It was we're not just going to sit back and allow Chelsea to have the ball here. We're actually going to have a go at them. One massive criticism in the media of Frank Lampard's Everton team against Liverpool, and don't get me wrong, it's a nonsense criticism because I thought the tactics against Liverpool were spot on. But one massive criticism of that performance was that, Everton just sat back. It was defensive. It was embarrassing, this, that, and the other. And I was wondering going into this game how Frank Lampard would attack it. Obviously, it's much different. We're playing a team that aren't as good as Liverpool for the start, but we're still a very good side. But also we were at home, and the atmosphere and all of that sort of plays into that as well. But we showed the intent within the opening couple of minutes. We'd created an opportunity. Obviously, Anthony Gordon ended up taking the free kick, I think, and it was lashed over the bar, but we'd got that chance. We'd been in that position. We'd got that opportunity. We got that chance. And, as I said, it just further grew the atmosphere. It just further, built on top of what already was a 40,000 strong brewing Everton fan base that was absolutely ready to pop and create as much noise as they possibly could. And then again, the first half goes by and Chelsea do, maintain a lot of the possession. But it's weird, really, because you look at the possession stats and you look at, the highlights of the game, and it would seem like Chelsea had a lot of the ball. It would seem like Chelsea were the controlling team, and they did have a lot of the ball. They had more possession than we did. And as I said, the chances they had in the first half, it would appear, were more promising than our chances. But maybe this is coming from a complete biased viewpoint and a complete, a point of just blind sort of blue-tinted glasses. But not blind, blue-tinted glasses. But I didn't ever feel like Chelsea were in control of the game. Even with their possession, even with the odd couple of chances they created, and Loftus-Cheek got in behind a couple of times, played it over to Mason Mount, who blazed on over the bar, despite the fact that I think it was Kai Havertz literally threw himself on the floor beforehand, and the referee didn't give a foul, but then didn't give a foul to us. Last week Anthony Gordon got yellow carded and got his name vilified in all of the big newspapers because he dived once against Liverpool, whereas Kai Havertz done it, and literally, Chelsea were allowed to play on, and it led to Mason Mount blasting one over the bar, which was baffling. As I said, Loftus-Cheek had a couple of moments himself, but I just never felt like Chelsea were in control of the game. I never felt like Chelsea were the more threatening team. I felt like it was Everton that were the more threatening team. And it wasn't a case of sitting back and letting them come at us. It was actually, we're going to have the ball and we're going to get at you. Anthony Gordon created a chance for himself, as I said, in that in that first half, gets down the left-hand side, cuts inside, takes a shot with his left foot, and it just goes wide of the goal. Again, that lifts the atmosphere, that shows, the fans that the players are willing to fight, the players are willing to battle, the players are willing to, do absolutely everything they can to win this game of football. And, not much happened in the first half, I will say that. You know, there wasn't an awful lot of work for Jordan Pickford to do. He had to tip a couple over the bar. He had to see a couple out. I think overall, defensively, we were solid. I think we were battling. I think we were, as I said, we were keeping them at bay. And although they had one or two opportunities that maybe were a little bit heart in your mouth, they never really had anything, especially in that first half, that caused problem. As I said, the Mason Mount one that goes over the bar, Jordan Pickford's got it covered absolutely all day long. And it was never anything that really sort of stressed me out or really made me think, these are getting out of here. It was always, okay, they've got the ball, but they're not doing anything with the ball. And when we had the ball, the cheer and the chanting and the crowd and the battle from the crowd was just absolutely unbelievable. We got a couple of corners in that first half as well, and that built on that. The atmosphere built on that. And as I said, other than that, there wasn't really much that happened in the first half. It wasn't an action-packed first half whatsoever, but it was a comfortable first half and it was a good performance by Everton. It was a battle in first half, and a lot of that battle come from Yerry Mina in the centre-back position. And I just want to say, I love Yerry Mina. I think I said this on the player ratings or the instant match reaction. Yerry Mina is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And if we could keep Yerry Mina fit for an entire season, and that's a big if, and it's a big unrealistic if, because his injury record will tell you that isn't going to happen. But let's say hypothetically, if we could keep Yerry Mina fit for the entirety of a season, I would genuinely give him A, the captain's armband, and B, 500 grand a week. I'd have no problem. And that's not even an exaggeration. That's not even me just saying he's had one good game, I'm getting over the top. That's how important I think Yerry Mina is to Everton. And if Yerry Mina isn't going to be the future at Everton for whatever reason, because there's a decision to be made on him this summer, for whatever reason, be it his injury record, be it his wages, whatever it may be, then I can't explain to you the importance of, if he does leave, and I don't want him to, and I don't want to entertain this conversation, but let's say he did, the importance of Everton replacing Yerry Mina with somebody who brings the leadership skills that he does, with somebody who is as much of a big, wind-up merchant and shit house to coin, for lack of a better phrase, than he is for somebody who is as big and demanding and physical and tall as he is for someone who is as good of a defender, is as aware, is as spatial aware as he is. But I'm not sure I want Yerry Mina to leave Everton. And I understand that it's frustrating when he plays one game and then is out for 4, and it's annoying, and I understand the financial implications and stuff like that around it. I get it. But performances like Sunday really, 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 for me, just nail down how important Yerry Mina is to Everton Football Club. And he genuinely would be one of the best centre-halves in this league if he could remain fit, and it wouldn't even be a question. He's had to deal with a Champions League winning front line there, and a Champions League goal-scoring centre-forward, midfielder, whatever you want to call Kai Havertz. And he's not only had him in his pockets all game, but he's wound him up to the point where Kai Havertz literally looked like he wanted to cry. He looked like he was going to go into the dressing room at full time and phone his mum and dad and say, I've just been absolutely had off by a fella there who's much taller than me and I don't like it, and can you come and shout at him? And we're talking about Kai Havertz, who is a wonderful footballer, technically wonderful footballer, and as I said, is not only a Champions League winner, but has scored in a Champions League final, and is an £87 million footballer, whatever they paid for him. And Yerry Mina has just made him look like a school child for 90 plus minutes, comfortably. And it is, as I said, it's performances like Sunday that really, 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 hit down on how important Yerry Mina is to Everton Football Club. He is the biggest leader at this football club, without a shadow of a doubt. He's the biggest leader on the pitch. He's the biggest leader off the pitch. His personality is very, very clearly important to this team. Multiple managers have spoken about his personality and, how important he is in the dressing room. We've seen it when he come off the coach on Sunday. He was, acknowledging the fans, cheering the fans. You see it in the tunnel. Access videos, even when he's not on the pitch or not in the matchday squad, he's there in the tunnel, getting the players up for it, trying to support everybody. When he's on the pitch, he's doing the same. There's a moment on about the 78th, 80th minute where we'd cleared the ball and I think the ball had gone out and we were making a substitution or whatever. And Mason Holgate had made a tackle about 5 minutes earlier. Good tackle, not anything you'd sit in and go, oh my God, unbelievable, but a good tackle. And when the ball went out, Yerry Mina goes up to him and sort of gets him in a headlock and is like, gets in and is geeing him up on the pitch. That's leadership. That is true leadership. If you want to see leadership, go onto Everton's website, watch the entire replay of Sunday's game, and it will be hard to do this because you'll want to watch everybody and you'll want to be immersed in the situation, but just focus on Yerry Mina for 90 minutes and you will see how big of a leader he is. And don't get me wrong, Seamus Coleman on Sunday was amazing as well. His leadership was there to see, and I've been critical of Seamus Coleman in the past as an Everton captain, and I've been critical of him not showing that side of himself and not being the leader that we need him to be. Sunday, he was in the face of Aspilicueta every time he tried to get the referee to make a decision. He was in the face of Chelsea players every time they crowded our players. He showed on as his performance that he led by example. He led by how well he played. He was battling, his desire was there, his commitment was there. He was unbelievable, Seamus Coleman, on Sunday. Really, really was. But for me, Yerry Mina, I've got a stitch. Oh, I need to breathe. I've got a bit of a stitch there. It's talking too quick. Somebody told me actually in the pub on Sunday to stop talking too quickly. Oh, bear with me. But no, Yerry Mina, for me, is just, as I said, his leadership qualities are absolutely unbelievable. And he is the difference between us winning games and not winning games. He really, really is. Not just because he's a great defender and he's big and he's physical and he's, as I said, he's a wind-up merchant and he's great in the air and he's a magnet to the ball and this, that and the other. Not only because of that, but because of his leadership. And the stats will show you. I think Everton's winning percentage without Yerry Mina is something like 40% lower than it is when Yerry Mina's in the team. And that's because, not only because of how good of a defender he is, but because of how much he G's up his teammates and he gets behind them and he battles for them and he's in the face and he's in the ear and he's in the ear of opposition and he's winding people up. He's unbelievable. He literally wound Lionel Messi up in a semi-final of a Copa America in the summer. Literally had Lionel Messi near enough crying, taking a penalty, and he's one of the greatest footballers of all time. He is a proper leader, Yerry Mina, and I absolutely love him. And the day he leaves this football club, I will be absolutely gutted, because I will understand that he's leaving on basis of things that probably aren't his fault, i.e. his injury record. It's not his fault he gets injured, it's not his fault his body fails him at times. But I'll also be massively upset because of what could have been if Yerry Mina would have stayed fit. I think he's as important to Everton as Virgil van Dijk is to Liverpool, or as Ruben Diaz is to Manchester City, or as John Terry was to Chelsea back in the day. That genuinely is how highly I rate Yerry Mina in this Everton team. I'm not saying he's as good of a player as those players, but he's as important to Everton as those players are to their football clubs, or were to their football clubs. And I think Frank Lampard will understand that, because he played with John Terry. He's played with some centre-backs who, as I said, are of a similar ilk to what Yerry Mina brings. But for me, Yerry Mina is just, as I said, if we could guarantee his fitness, I would give him the captain's armband and I would give him any amount of money that he wanted, because I just think he's so important to this football club. His passion, his desire, his personality, his commitment, his ability on the pitch, his leadership skills, his ability to wind players up. He just is so crucial to Everton. And as I said, anybody that disagrees and doesn't believe that just doesn't understand football or doesn't watch football. And like I said before, Mason Holgate was all of a sudden put in a much better performance next to Yerry Mina. And that's no coincidence, because he's obviously comfortable having Yerry Mina there. Because when Yerry Mina's in that starting 11, in that back line, there's no question of who's the senior. There's no question of who's the leader. There's no question who is the numero uno. It's Yerry Mina. And whoever's playing next to him is the secondary defender. They've got not that much pressure on them. They just have to do what they need to do, clear the ball, make the right tackles, get in the good positions, head the ball away, and you leave all of the winding up and the physicality and the battle to Yerry Mina. When he's not in the team, and it's Holgate and Keane, neither of them can do that role, so they struggle, and therefore we can see goals and we give silly mistakes away. It's the same with Ben Godfrey, although I think Ben Godfrey's a better defender than Holgate and Keane. It's the same with him. He hasn't got that physicality. He hasn't got that little bit of. He's got bite about him, Godfrey, but it's not the same bite as Yerry Mina. You know, he's not. I can't explain it. He just is so important to Everton. Yerry Mina, he's unbelievable. He's absolutely unbelievable, and he showed again. He absolutely showed again on Sunday how good of a defender he is. That's a Champions League winning forward line, and they barely got a sniff. Okay, they had the Azpilicueta chance, but it come from Mason Mount hitting one from near enough outside the box, and it bouncing off both posts, and Azpilicueta being left. It wasn't Yerry Mina's fault. And again, I'm not saying he's the perfect defender, but his importance to Everton is there to be seen. It's so evident, and I firmly do believe that if he was fit for even, I don't know, 10% more games than what he has been, I don't think we'd be in this situation. I really, really don't think we'd be in this situation. He was unbelievable, and as I said, fair play to Mason Holgate next to him, who looked absolutely excellent as well. The whole defence for me, Vitaly Mykolenko again, that's what, in the last 4 weeks, he's faced Mohamed Salah, Diego Jota, Sadio Mane, Kai Havertz, Mason Mount, Timo Werner, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba. You know, the Leicester's attack, who have got a decent attack, and in every game, he hasn't put a foot wrong. He's looked unbelievable in every game. That kid is getting better and better and better as the weeks go on. Vitaly Mykolenko, he really, really, really is. And again, on Sunday for me, he was fabulous. He was absolutely brilliant. And Seamus Coleman on the other side, like I said, again, Seamus' best performance in an Everton shirt in a long, long time. Not only his performance as a player, but his leadership was really there to be seen on Sunday. It felt like it meant that much to him. And Seamus said before the game or after the game, I think, you know, he's in all his time at this football club, he's never experienced what he experienced with the coach and the atmosphere before the game, and it clearly rubbed off on him, and it clearly triggered something within his brain to think, I need to be the leader of this club. And he was. As much as Yerry Mina was, Seamus Coleman was as well on Sunday, and I've got to give him full respect to that. Glenn's donated £2 to the live stream. Thank you very much, Glenn. He says, Cam, will you get a Yerry Mina tattoo if we stay up? Maybe. I might just get a Yerry Mina tattoo if we stay up. I'm not getting a portrait of him or his name. I might get something to commemorate Yerry Mina if we are to stay up. But I don't know. I'm not going to say yeah. Because the things like that you can regret for things that happen that are off the pitch. I'm not saying anything will happen, but it's not without the realms of possibility, is it? Let's be honest. And yeah, as I said, we go in at half time and we've battled. Alex Iwobi I thought was fantastic. Damari Gray was getting in the right areas, creating some space for himself, as was Anthony Gordon. I think Anthony Gordon's delivery was poor. I think his delivery could have been better from set pieces, but again, he's a young lad. He will learn that. That will come with time. That will come with his ultimately his performances, his experience. That will all come. That will all come with that. But his effort, his desire, his work rate, his passion, I thought he caused them constant problems. I thought every time he was on the ball, Antonio Rudiger looked scared. They had a couple of yellow cards in the first half. It was getting a little bit feisty because you could tell how much it meant to Everton. There was the situation with, as I said, Coleman and Azpilicueta, which come from Mina and Mount. There was Rudiger who picked up a yellow card early on. So we were frustrating them. We were definitely frustrating them, and I think we were the better team in the first half. But that half-time team talk was so important because at half-time, I remember sitting there and saying to me brother, who was sitting next to me, this is good, but it's not good enough. A point today isn't enough. I said it in the preview, I said it after the game, I said it during the game, I said it constant throughout. A point on Sunday would never have been enough. In hindsight, and 3 weeks ago, we'd have looked at it and gone, it's not a bad point, Chelsea at home, good team, working hard, we're not in great form. But after Saturday's results, and Burnley's results specifically, a point was never going to be enough. Never, ever, ever going to be enough on Sunday. So, for me at half-time, it was always about understanding that we'd put in a good performance, understanding that we'd worked hard, understanding that there was that battle, there was that desire, there was that commitment, but also understanding that we needed to go out and be more creative. Because I don't think we were creative enough in that first half. We worked hard and we played well and we kept them at bay, but there just wasn't enough creativity. We come out in the second half, and again, within a couple of minutes, Demarai Gray and Richarlison are charging down Chelsea's defence. Azpilicueta is pissing about on the ball. Richarlison nicks it off him. Azpilicueta rags Demarai Gray down, which A, would have been a penalty, and B, although I commend Kevin Friend, and I've never said that before, I commend Kevin Friend for playing the advantage. Why he didn't go back and give him a yellow card for what was a blatant drag down is beyond me. But Richarlison nicks the ball back, it falls to Gray, Gray's dragged down, falls back to Richarlison. Everyone for a second is going, penalty? Not even a second, a split second is thinking penalty, and then Richarlison curls it past Edouard Mendy. And before we talk about the goal and how much that meant, I want to give full credit and respect to Richarlison, because his finishing has been questioned at times this season by me and by many other Evertonians, and rightly so as well. It's not been unfair to question his finishing this season. There's been opportunities that he's missed that you would fully expect his striker to score, but he took that one perfectly on Sunday. Really, really well taken. Hailed it into the corner of the net, calm, in a pressured situation when the ball fell to him, and he was probably unexpecting it. Wasn't expecting it, should I say, sorry. And yeah, we go 1-0 up. Obviously, Goodison erupts. For me, it was a bit of a weird goal, because it sort of come out of nowhere and I didn't expect it. It was just after half time. You're usually thinking stay strong for 10-15 minutes and then throw everything at them. But all of a sudden, we've got a goal. As I said, the entirety of Goodison Park erupts. The blue smoke devices are let off everywhere and thrown onto the pitch. And obviously, Richarlison picks one up and doesn't throw it towards the crowd. By the way, let's absolutely get that clear. For any knobheads that work for the Mail, Daily Mail, or Mail Sports Online, whichever absolute vile disease of a publication that is, for any of the absolute dickheads that work for them, or anybody else that is saying Richarlison threw it into the crowd, he didn't. There was a flare that was lashed onto the pitch, or sorry, not a flare, again, not a flare, a smoke device that was lashed onto the pitch when he scored and was still on the pitch when he'd finished his celebrations. The stewards hadn't come on and taken it off, which they should have done. So Richarlison merely picked it up, got a couple of unbelievable pictures and videos, and then threw it out of the stadium to a section where there was no human beings. No human beings. So any of these knobheads that work for these absolute disease publications that want to say, he threw a lit fire flare into the stands. A, it wasn't a flare. It was a smoke device of some form that lets out blue smoke, which isn't anywhere near as dangerous as a flare. B, he didn't throw it towards the fans or into a stand or into the fans. He threw it out of the stadium. And to be fair, there's been a couple of well-known journalists, I think Jordan, even Danny Murphy, who I'm not a massive fan of, who both said, let's stop chatting shite here. He didn't throw it towards the fans and it wasn't a flare. He threw it out the stadium. I think Simon Jordan said it was ill-advised, but it's being overly publicised. It was nothing, and that's exactly what it was. It was a player seeing something on the pitch that shouldn't have been on the pitch and getting rid of it. Whether he should have threw it there or not, maybe he should get a slap on the wrist and told to not do it again. But any talk of anything else from any of these knobheads that think, oh, he's this, he's that, he's the other, you're just a knobhead. You're just a bad knobhead. Simple as that. You're a biased knobhead. And if you work for the media, you should be embarrassed for yourself, by the way, because as I said, the media's job is to tell. I seen a video today of Sir Alex Ferguson during his time as Manchester United manager. And he sits down in a press conference and he says, firstly, before the start, I just want to say that you as journalists and you as the media, your job is to tell the truth. Your job isn't to sit there and twist the words I say into creating your own little story. Your job is to tell the truth. And if I find another story that is taken from one of these press conferences that you've created out of nothing, then you won't be fucking coming back in here. And he literally uses them words. He says, you won't be coming back in ever again. Stop lying. Your job is to tell the truth, not to lie and to create stupid things out of nothing. So if you're not going to tell the truth, then you can get to fuck and you're not coming in. Loosely in a Scouse accent referencing Alex Ferguson, but it's very similar to that. And that's exactly can be implied with this. All of these headlines of Richarlison throws lift flare into fans. He doesn't. He threw a smoke device out of the stadium for the safety of everybody. Stop making shit up. Anyway, it was a great goal. It was a great bit of fire awareness by Richarlison and a great bit of safety awareness by Richarlison. If anything, he should be commended for his health and safety training. He should be commended for his, health and safety know-all and knowledge of to think this could be a potential problem. It wasn't going to be a potential problem because the game couldn't have gone on whilst it was on the pitch. The people that should have dealt with it didn't, so he took it into his own hands. In fact, he's a fucking hero, isn't he, really? He's an absolute hero. He took it into his own hands to deal with that situation that he didn't need to deal with. He should be commended for being a hero. End of story. Great finish, great celebration. Some of the pictures that have come from it are ones that I don't think any of us will ever forget. And all of a sudden, Everton are 1-0 up. And you're thinking, okay, that was what we needed. Now, it was always going to be difficult then to sit back and defend for the best part of 50 minutes, which should have been 40 minutes, but obviously, the fourth official decided to add an extra 7 minutes on for no reason whatsoever, and it ended up being 50 minutes. And that was always going to be a task, because we would have invited Chelsea on. As I said, they're a good team. They've got some good players. They made a change at half-time to bring on Kovacic for Jorginho. I think he was injured. And they had other players that they could have brought on. They had Romelu Lukaku on the bench at this point. Hakim Ziyech. They had attacking players that they could have brought on that would have seriously caused Everton problems. So it was, for me, it was a decision that Frank Lampard had to make then. Do I sit back and try and defend this and try and see this out for the best part of 45 minutes? Or do we keep doing what we've been doing? Defend well, structured well, frustrate them in the midfield, and still get at them and still cause them problems. And we continue to do that, and that absolutely, again, to give to give the credit Frank Lampard deserves. That was the right decision, in the same way as the way he set up against Liverpool was the right decision. It was the right decision to continue the way he did in that game on Sunday, because in doing that, in the minds of those Chelsea players and Thomas Tuchel, it wasn't right. They're not going to offer anything now. They're just going to sit back. So get them with everything. It was always they could still hurt us. They could still get another opportunity. They could still go and score a second. So they weren't as cutthroat as maybe they would have been, or as they definitely would have been had we have just sat back. Obviously, a couple of minutes later, we have another chance. Again, really, really well played. Ball falls to Abdoulaye Doucouré on the edge of the box. He should shoot for me with his left foot. It's there. It's open for him. He's got loads of space. He doesn't. He lays it off to Mykolenko. Mykolenko lashes it into my backyard, which is actually harder to miss than it is to score. I've seen the replay. I've seen the chance again a couple of times, and how it's missed is beyond me. I'm not going to sit here and have a go at Vitaly Mykolenko and slag him off, because as I said, I think he's been absolutely brilliant in recent weeks. But how he missed that chance is just, again, it baffles me. And that would have been truly game over at that point. That would have been 2-0 up. Again, don't do anything silly. They'd have come out flying, don't get me wrong, but you know, the atmosphere at that point in the stadium would have just been absolutely through the roof. And it would have been that security blanket. It really, really would have. Amanda has donated £8.99. Thank you very much, Amanda, to the live stream. Amanda says Richarlison can become an Everton Richarlison can become an Everton legend if he keeps going like that. Also Pickford too. The team made us feel proud. Spot on, Amanda, and thank you so much for the super chat. It means a massive amount to me. Jack the lad says their job is to report news, not make it. Spot on. Derek says, that's a stretch, Cam. It was a moment of passion from a player fighting for the club survival. Pitch is a boss moment, was boss, but he wasn't worried about safety. I was being sarcastic, Derek. I agree with you. But yeah, as I said, Mykolenko has the chance, he misses it, and you're sort of thinking, and it's mad because you typically in that situation, I'd be thinking, oh, is that one we're going to regret? Is that an opportunity that we're going to be sitting there and thinking, shit, he should have taken that? All I was thinking was, another chance, get in, go and get another one, go and get another one, go and get another one, go and get another one. It wasn't a, oh, we might regret that. It was a, go and get another one. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Ruben says, is he getting banned? I don't believe so. He won't get banned. He'll probably get a fine and a telling off, but he won't get banned. And then, as I said, the game sort of, I wouldn't say petering out, but, you know, Everton, in terms of chances created, you know, we were still a threat. We were still looking like, you know, we were still evidently a problem for Chelsea. And I think that, you know, the Chelsea players and Thomas Tuchel understood that and knew that. But Thomas Tuchel, obviously, at this point was going for, you know, to try and change the game, to try and change the outcome of the game, and to try and, you know, ultimately get a goal back, and you know, get back into the game. He made a couple of substitutions. He brought on Hakim Ziyech, as I said, and Christian Pulisic, who again are both very, 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 very capable of getting a goal. Why he didn't bring on Romelu Lukaku is obviously a very political reason, because for me, if you're searching for a goal and you've got 15-20 minutes of a game to go, and you've got Romelu Lukaku on the bench, you almost definitely bring him on. But he didn't. And then, as I said, Chelsea were starting to, I think, find a little bit of belief in themselves. They were always going to have a period in the second half of, whether it be 5-10 minutes of going for us, and we were going to have to sort of be able to stomach that and put up with that. We obviously brought on Alan, and later, you know, Solomon Rondon obviously come on, and Dele come on. But they had a couple of opportunities in which Jordan Pickford just, again, I've watched it back a good 3,282 times, and I still don't understand how he saved it. Ball is chipped in. Chelsea, I think it's Havertz, heads it down towards Mason Mount. He hits it on the volley first time. It hits one post. It's the other post. My arse is on the floor at that point thinking, how's it not gone in and hit both posts? It falls to Cesar Azpilicueta, who's got an opportunity to redeem himself after being the reason Chelsea were 1-0 down. 10 yards out from goal, open goal. Jordan Pickford is the complete other end of the goal from the dive from Mason Mount, which happened about a millisecond before that. And as I said before, he runs the entire length of the goal, which isn't a short distance, by the way, and has the know-how and the footballing IQ to put himself behind the line to make sure his body is in the right place, to stretch his arms out and make the save. He then gets caught in the net. Luckily enough, I think it's Mina puts it over the corner, and he gets up and he screams at the crowd. And that I was sat in front of the park, and trust me, you know, I know people will have watched it on television. I know people will have watched it from the Gladys seat and all different angles. But if you were sat in the park end on Sunday, you will understand the absolute quality of that save. And when I say that's the best save I've ever seen, I'm not lying. I was literally sat right behind it, and I don't think there will ever be a better save in football. the context of the situation, where he was when Azpilicueta hit the ball, how close Azpilicueta was to the goal, the power Azpilicueta hit the ball with, and the know-how to put himself behind the line so that he could use his arms in the correct way to make that save, is just beyond me. And put it this way, if it was made by a certain other English goalkeeper who plays down south, it would still be on the back pages of every newspaper now, and there would be publications writing articles about how unbelievable it was and how he should be given a knighthood for it. It is, as I said, I wish I could sit here and explain to you truly how he made that save, but I can't. I honestly can't. It felt like a moment and where you're just looking and thinking, is that reality? Is that actually just happened? Is that, you know, again, how was that? How has he managed to? And it's not until you see it on the replay, and you know you've watched the replay about 4,000 times, like I have, that you actually look and think that is generational. He is a generational talented goalkeeper. It's as simple as that. He's one of the best in the world. I don't give a shit what anybody says. This rumour of he's only good for his country, nonsense. Watch him for Everton week in, week out. He is unbelievable. And that save for me just absolutely topped it off. I don't fully understand how he made it. I seriously don't. And again, that was another point. The same with the Mykolenko chance. Typically, in a game, in the situation Everton are in recent weeks, in a game in which a situation like that would have happened, typically, you'd be thinking, oh shit, here we go, they've had a chance, they're going to keep pounding, you know, they're going to keep getting at us, they're going to keep throwing chances at us. But because of the positivity around the fan base and the club at that point, that wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. It was, I felt like, this is going to be our day here. We're not losing this game, we're not dropping a point here, this is our day. That unbelievable save, you get up, you scream, and I think the players all believed, right, we're not dropping a point here. That, you know, Jordan Pickford's had to save us, don't get me wrong, but, you know, this is our day, and they all believed in that. And as I said, for me, it's just, it's unexplainable how good of a save that is. The best I've ever seen live, for me, arguably the best save ever made. And I know some people go, don't be silly, Cam, don't, but for the context of the situation, how good it was, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And he stops what was a certain goal. Ball goes out. Chelsea have the corner. Ball comes back in. Rudiger's at the back post. Fires a shot. And Jordan Pickford again is straight over there. And it gets a block in. Now this one hits him in the face. It's still a world-class save. Because there's no rule in the footballing book of that. Unless you save it with your hands, it's not classed as a good save. Yes, it swats him straight in the face, and he probably doesn't know much about it, but he still makes himself big, and he still puts himself in that situation and in that position to make the save, even after just making what probably will be the best save of his career. Certainly is the best save of his career to date. He doesn't dwell on it, and that's the difference between Jordan Pickford now versus the Jordan Pickford we were seeing 2 or 3 years ago. The Jordan Pickford 2 or 3 years ago would make saves, not as good as that one to deny Azpilicueta, but very, very good saves. And then after that, you could tell his concentration level would drop because he'd probably almost be thinking in his head, wow, that was unbelievable. Look how great of a save that was. I'm amazing. I'm brilliant. And then very, very frequently, 2-3 years ago, he'd then make mistakes afterwards, or would then concede after he'd made a great save because his concentration level had dropped because he was probably almost believing his own hype a little bit. Whereas you could tell of how much he's matured and grown up as a goalkeeper in the last 18 months, 2 years, is that when he made that save, literally a minute later, if that, from the resulting corner, he makes another absolutely season-defining save from Antonio Rudiger. And he's not thinking, wow, look at how great my save was to deny Azpilicueta there, or look at how brilliant I am. He's thinking, I need to get my head back in the game here. I've got a corner to defend. And he's straight back out to save the next one. And that just shows how far he's come and the level that he's now at as a goalkeeper. And again, that save to deny Rudiger is world class. Absolutely world class. And then again, the crowd started to believe again. It was this is definitely going to be our day here. We were getting the ball out. I think the manager managed it well. we were getting forward. We had the chance with Damari Gray. He cuts in on his right foot and he fires the ball over the bar, which is unlucky, and unfortunate. And if that one would have went in, I genuinely don't think I'd be able to speak today. I really, really don't. I think my voice would have fully just got up, packed its bags and gone, I'm getting off, mate. See you later. I'm not coming back for a good 3 or 4 weeks here. But it doesn't. It just fires over the bar. And again, Rondon has a chance where he dribbles past about 4 Chelsea players and then falls on his arse and sits on the ball. Again, we're still causing them a problem. We're still causing them a threat, despite the fact that, they're the team that need to get back in the game, despite the fact that they're the team that, ultimately need to show that they're wanting to get something out of the game. We're still causing them problems. We're still causing them threat. We're still winding them up. As I said, at this point, Yerry Mina is just doing an unbelievable job at dealing with Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz at this point is virtually in tears. Yerry Mina does his old little head movements towards him. Nothing wrong with it. Doesn't make any contact. Doesn't, it's just a bit of schneidness. Kai Havertz throws him on the floor, gets himself a yellow card. Lovely jubbly. Should have been a second yellow card because he should have got one for his dive in the first half. And then again, as I said, they have one more chance towards the end of the game. This again is another world-class save by Jordan Pickford. Kovacic, gets the ball down, takes a shot. Jordan gets down really, really well to his right side. If you're a non-goalkeeper, you probably look at this one and go, that's just a decent save. But goalkeepers, or anybody that's ever played in goal, will be able to tell you how good of a save that actually is. To get down that well and react that quickly to your, to get down to the floor and make that save is unbelievable. And then obviously we see the game out. The final whistle is blown. The atmosphere, the noise, the roar within the stadium is just something to behold. It's a noise and a sound that I will never forget. And yeah, it was just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. We've won the game, we've seen it out, and we're 3 points better off, and ultimately 3 points closer to staying in the Premier League. And for me, as I said, I don't remember many days that were as good as that. I really, really, really don't remember as many days that were as good as that at Goodison. Jordan Pickford to Alex Iwobi, who was unbelievable. Vitaly Mykolenko, Yerry Mina, Seamus Coleman, Anthony Gordon, Richarlison, who worked tirelessly, Damari Gray, even Rondon when he come on, Dele Alli, Alan, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Fabian Delph, everybody, Seamus Coleman, everybody was fantastic on Sunday. Frank Lampard, the fans, wish I could sit here and name every single fan that was within the stadium and outside the stadium, but I'd be here all week. But yeah, it just very, very much felt like a win that, again, was a celebration. The manager's reaction to it was unbelievable, considering, his affiliation with Chelsea Football Club. Yeah, and as I said, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and it's a massive, massive 3 points. A massive, massive 3 points, and a 3 points that ultimately takes us one step closer to safety. Although, as I said at the start of the season, it's very, very certainly not done, and there is still an awful, awful lot of work to be done. There really, really is. But yeah, it was just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Fair play to Kevin Friend. Thought he refereed the game well. Thought he made some good decisions. Thought he made some bad decisions, but I thought for the majority of the game he done okay. It was a bit like 3-1. Big Dunk versus Chelsea, says Semi. It was. Blue Cali says improved this game and confidence. Eugene says I think Everton will do the great escape from the relegation zone. I hope so. Blue Cali says don't forget Iwobi. Lampard has improved this game and confidence. Spots on. Adult says Anthony Gordon went left, narrowed his angle to take his shot when the shot was open to go there and shoot. Fair. Mad Iwobi has gone from a player everyone didn't rate to a favourite. Hard work, mate. That's what hard work does. Alex Iwobi in the last 5-6 games has simply, and he don't get me wrong, technically he's done well and he's been okay, but the big difference hasn't been his technical ability, or he hasn't scored 6 or 7 important goals. He scored a really important goal against Newcastle, but the difference has been his effort, his work rate, his determination, his desire, his battle, his commitment. that is what has changed the opinion on him, in my opinion. Amanda says, good to hear Frank Lampard saying he's staying as long as Everton want him to. He can do this for us. Let's hope so. Anyway, look, we are going to finish it there then. Unbelievable results, unbelievable performance, and just an unbelievable day. All together, wasn't it? I think we can all agree on that one. If you have enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Once again, a massive thank you to everybody for watching the live comments. 100 people watching consistently throughout the stream, which is amazing. If you could hit that like button, it would mean a great deal to me. And if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. We will be back tomorrow with another live stream, so don't forget to join us for that one. What we will be talking about is undecided, but we will be doing another one talking about something regarding Everton Football Club tomorrow, so don't forget to join us for that one. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll get involved with as many of them comments as we can as well. Once again, thank you to everybody who has joined us and commented in the live stream. Thank you to everybody who has given a super chat as well. Really do appreciate that. And yeah, got to take this into Sunday now and replicate the performance, and then in the home games replicate the atmosphere and the day in itself, because it was special. Big thank you for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later. Thank you very much. See you after.